He also had this idea that we could put together a military spending towards not just having the Air Force and the military itself, but also let's put together some money and work towards having satellites, having stuff out there in space. That way we can prepare and we can see what the rest of the world is doing. So kind of surveillance out there. This was called the Strategic Defense Initiative, but people called it Star Wars. Star Wars, the movie, had come out up to this point, so I know that makes like Brady and Lucas and Olivia and all those people that love Star Wars up there. It's not exactly Star Wars, but he said we're preparing for fighting the rest of the world if we need to from space. So he called the Soviet Union an evil empire, and he worked to bring the Cold War to an end. He freed Lebanon, Libya, Grenada, El Salvador, and Nicaragua. He just sent troops in, knocked it out quickly. He really fought. I mean, he was the one who said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. And he worked towards getting the Berlin Wall torn down. Remember, the Berlin Wall was built in Germany after World War II. Now, we still had a recession because the economic woes from Carter did not go away right away. But he, over time, did cut down on the taxes coming in and pushed more money towards the stock market. So, our national debt went from $909 billion in 1980. It basically tripled during his time because he cut taxes, but we still were spending money as a government. So, $3.2 trillion in 1990. 1984, he was better than before. He had a higher turnout. Now, this man right here, that is George H.W. Bush, his vice president. So, he got 59% of the popular vote, the second largest electoral victory in history. And he was there to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Statue of Liberty, 200th anniversary of the Constitution. So, meanwhile, in the 80s, AIDS awareness came up, lots of push for AIDS awareness and homosexual rights, all that good stuff. The women's movement stalled because the ERA failed to pass in 1982. A woman named Phyllis Schlafly, she fought against it. A woman fought against the Equal Rights Amendment. There's actually a great series on Hulu right now called Mrs. America that's all about this. So if you're interested in the ERA and Phyllis Schlafly, I strongly suggest you watch it. I've been watching it every week. So he added 4 new Supreme Court justices: Sandra Day O'Connor, Anthony Kennedy, Antonin Scalia, and Chief Justice William Rehnquist. So there are 9 Supreme Court justices. So he almost filled half the court. Big issues of the 80s continued, like the farm crisis. Lots of people were losing their farms. There was a lot of manufacturing shift from having work in the United States to sending it elsewhere because it costs less to make stuff in Thailand and China than it does in America. The wealthiest Americans got richer. Like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And on January 28th, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded shortly after takeoff. So everybody in America was pretty much watching this because this was one of the first space shuttle missions to go up. So 86, people were watching this go up, and in midair it explodes. Everybody's dead. I mean, this was like the shot heard around the world. Incredibly tragic. Just tore America apart. Finally, Reagan got us involved in a fight in Afghanistan. Now, not the same fight we've had in your lifetime, But the Soviets went into Afghanistan. They worked with the Afghans, and we helped Afghanistan get their independence from the Soviet Union. Because remember, we did not want Afghanistan falling to communism. It was that idea of containment. So in the 80s, we gave American support to Afghanistan. So we were on the opposite side. We're not fighting Afghanistan. We are with the Afghans. So we worked with the Afghans to fight the Soviets. We gave them American weapons. And we said, we're going to give you weapons to fight the Soviets. Now, the unfortunate thing, though, is one of those people we were helping and we gave a lot of American intel to was this guy named Osama bin Laden, who, once they defeated the Soviets, they turned around and decided they wanted to use the American tactics against us with stuff like the World Trade Center attacks on September 11th. So, using American weapons against us. I mean, ultimately, hindsight's always 20/20. But if we hadn't helped the Afghans then, who knows if September 11th would have occurred. But at the same time, we were scared of communism at that point that we trusted the people in Afghanistan. Excuse me. Now, Reagan was not free of controversy because some of his guys, some of his people that worked for his administration, they sold weapons to Iran in exchange for getting hostages back. So, this is illegal. You cannot sell American weapons to a foreign country. That would be considered treason. At this point, Iran was considered a terrorist state because if you're anti-American, you're terrorist. So, Reagan and the administration responded by saying that never happened. They lied to the press and Congress. They withheld documents. Wow, that sounds awfully familiar. It's like another Watergate style thing. Now, ultimately, Reagan survived this. It did not go to him being impeached or being removed from office. But at the time, it just solidified in Americans' minds that the government is corrupt, the government lies to us, and they're not to be trusted. So guys, make sure you do your web quest this week. Make sure you do your current event. And have a great week. I miss you guys very much, but I look forward to seeing you in class virtually, and hopefully I'll see some of you on office hours or during twilight as well. If you need a little bit of help or you just want to catch up, I'm always here for you, whether we're together or not. Talk to you soon. Bye.